I did not realize this was from the POV of a horse. This was definitely out of my normal reading habits. So Black Beauty by Anna Sewell is a book I will start with, I rated it 3 out of 5 stars, which for me was, it's good, okay. I probably will not read it again, and I will probably only recommend this to certain people who I think will love it. And there are definitely people who will love this book, and definitely people I know who have loved this book. It unfortunately is just not me. So in terms of my rating, it is definitely on my opinion and my vibes, we'll go with. In terms of like literature and the quality of the writing, the story, everything else, I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5. In terms of my enjoyment on it, it's probably a 3. The POV from the horse was a really interesting choice and really fresh and unexpected. It's one that actually got me into it quicker than I expected, because otherwise I don't think I would have gotten into it as quickly or easily if it had been from something else. It was sad. It definitely made me think twice about how we treat animals and what the life of animals looks like. And I just spent the entire book really hoping that things would turn out good for this horse. Without spoiling, a lot of it has some sad moments in it, a lot of sad moments if you love animals, especially horses, but it's also a really fresh and interesting perspective on looking at the life of a horse from the perspective of a horse. The thing that got me that didn't really get it to 5 stars, besides the fact that it's not fantasy or romance, is a couple of the chapter starters felt a bit repetitive. Maybe that was intentional, maybe that was a choice because it's a horse, so it's not necessarily in the way we would structure a story. But yeah, it kind of, by the end of it, started to get a bit too much in terms of repetitiveness. And in the modern lens, a lot of the long run-on sentences that grammatically make sense don't really hold the ADHD brain focus. So it was a bit hard at times to just keep pushing through certain parts of it. But the overall story was really, really fun and interesting, and thought-provoking, and still had hints that I was sitting there going, actually really love that quote. Favorite characters in this, I would say Ginger, definitely. In terms of my favorite quote from this book, there's a really powerful one in here, and because I don't annotate, I will be picking up my notebook. An election is a very serious thing, at least it ought to be, and every man ought to be able to vote according to his own conscience and let his neighbour do the same. I really enjoyed how it still relates to today, even though it was definitely not written recently. And a couple of the points about liberty, how we treat animals, were really, really interesting. Overall, would I recommend? Yes, no, maybe. Maybe. If you're a horse lover, I would say absolutely. If you're someone who likes to read the classics just to see the literature of the time, I'd say also probably give it worth a read if you like an interesting perspective. If you are a fantasy romance girly and this is not in your normal genre, I'd say probably worth just going to a book that you're gonna love.